the Emperor. Half sister. She may be.
Of the current Emperor?
She's the bastard daughter of the late Emperor. Half elf.
Have you not looked over the... I have been going over this with you for the past 7 days in preparation. We are leaving in less than a week.
Yes, no, of course, I do, it does come back to my memory. It's just, unless there's a beautiful face to be put in with these names, it does get very, difficult to keep in mind.
Well, perhaps you might want to keep her
face.
name in mind, because I've heard she is quite a beauty.
Jask's face kind of goes a little soft as he reminisces. Quite the beauty.
Well, they do age slightly slower than us, so a little bit older than him probably, puts her down to my age.
She is 26, a year older than her brother.
Ooh.
It's actually quite a drama that she was brought to the palace before the Emperor Castinus's first year of marriage to the Empress Malia was even over. Quite a drama.
That does make things messy, but I'm not a big fan of embroiling children into that kind of thing.
Her brother keeps her at court, so I would presume there's some... I don't know. Jask, help me out here.
Somewhat. I'm better. Unless you want me to hit her when we get there, I'm not going to be much of help.
I'm sure there will be plenty feats of strength that will suit you just fine. Like I said, I feel like people would be a little bit more open once they get to hearing this idea that I have, and he'll kind of tap on his rapier. I think we're guided very well.
Guided by the gods themselves.
Maybe the most important one. Not that I said that out loud. I'm going to, and he's going to do a real quick little, like a hand motion and say a little prayer close to his chest before he kisses his thumb. Now that I've atoned for what I've said, maybe we should start getting ready. I need some of my things put aside. I know we're making a big entrance and all, but I cannot, I can't be carrying a shield and this and that and paperwork and child support letters. I can't be carrying all that with me. So if you two don't mind bringing in suitcases, that would be very helpful for me.
That
I
is our
think you
job.
have plenty of servants. Yes, sure, I can carry a suitcase.
And they can put
Carry
the
a
suitcase
shield.
they can put the suitcase together, but I need someone to at least bring it with me. I need to have all my documents ready. I have not been known for keeping up with them, so bear with me.
I know, your office is a
We will.
mess.
I have an office. Oh,
Oh,
I'm
God.
just used to the bedroom and the kitchen, and that's about it.
And as the jovial Baron Miguel laughs into the late morning sun, we bring us back to the table.
Where
in
he is
a
very
large
quickly,
stone keep.
very quickly, I might have forgotten to mention the best part. He is introduced as Don Miguel Alfonso Alferez Garcia y Diez de Leon.
And you are directed to a seat next to a very simple looking man in the wearing the colors of House Talisker.
I'll look at him and give him a nod, and I will take off my gaudy, bejeweled glove and go to shake his hand.
Is it me or the person in the plainest garb would be the
It would be
priest?
you.
It's me.
It would be
perfect.
you, yeah. He sat next to you,
Perfect.
yes.
Wanted to make that clear. I wasn't sure where everyone was sat. That's cool. In that case, I'll reach out and shake your hand. It's like a fully it's like a large hand. It's like calloused from like sword work essentially. So it's got a lot of raised calluses. Big hand. It was shake it. Just be like, oh, it's a pleasure to meet you.
as you make contact, on the contrary, while there is some battle calluses from the swords, it is cocoa butter, hand cream, very soft.
My hand slips off immediately. I'm
Yeah.
just like, whoa! Bloody hell.
And Miguel goes, ooh.
No, sorry, that's all me. I'm not much for hand maintenance, but it's bloody nice to meet you.
It's very, very nice to meet you as well.
I like the sparks. That were nice.
You know, I feel like some people, they get very scared, or
It's a gift from gods. It's a gift from gods, magic. So it makes perfect sense.
Exactly, that is what I'm saying. I think you and I will get along very well.
Oh, let's hope so.
And next we have up our Baron Covington Blackthorn.
As the herald announces the arrival of House Blackthorn to the banquet.
Yes, so Covington Blackthorn is going to come in as bombastically as he can possibly come in. Short of having hired, maybe he has hired his own trumpeter, I don't even know. But he's coming in,
Absolutely.
he's drinking in the moment, he's swaggering, he's got his feather cap, he's very happy to be here. And he's trying to make as good of an impression as he can, considering that he's kind of an outsider and he knows it. He's dripped top to bottom in his royal house colors of blue, black, and gold. He's got a sort of velvet cape with your little spotted bits there. He's got the poofy pants. He's got the leather boots. He's got the vest. And he, like Baron Miguel, has a sword strapped to his side. But if you were to look at it, you would notice that it is not anywhere near as royal as you would expect a noble to have. It's very much an old, well-kept, but old weapon of war that has seen a lot of use. So you notice, if anybody were paying attention to that, that's the only thing that's kind of out of place, that's not just like he spent the most money possible on this attire. He swaggers in, he waves at people, he bows, takes his hat off, bows ever so deeply as he can at the emperor and the other attendees there, and he is trying to make himself the life of the party. His party, on the other hand, very demure. You're probably not going to really notice them if you aren't paying much attention. Behind him, first coming in, kind of a bit to his right, is a woman in very elegant clothes, but not a dress. Very dark, not a lot of blues. There's some splashes of blues in there, but it's mostly black with a little trim of gold and some splashes of blue. But very elegant pants, shirt, blouse. She's not really saying anything. Red hair, just kind of nicely laid back. She's just eyeing the place, taking it all in, not really drawing any attention to herself. To the left is a wizard. He's not even hiding the fact that he's a wizard. He's top to bottom wizard robes. Again, we made sure that we got the finest wizard robes in the house colors. Very blue, gold trim, maybe a little bit of black underneath. He's not doing any spells or anything, but he is what he is, and he's not going to hide it. And then behind him, similar to Covington's sword, is a knight in full, like, you can see the dents and the repairs and the scars and everything, war plate, top to bottom. He even wore the helmet. Nobody can make him take it off for whatever reason. And he's just big golem of a man, probably similar to, I can't remember whose other knight it was, but similar to like 6'5", 6'8", something like, just big old beefy mountain underneath this war plate. And he has this box, this big old like crate style box that he's just holding and trudging down as they go to take their place.
And as the dueling trumpeters announce the arrival of Baron Blackthorn, the party celebration catches some of the other noble houses off guard, smiling, slightly confused. It reminds you of a party atmosphere a couple weeks ago at a tavern by the seaside.
Drinks flow freely in the Hawk and Fox Tavern, a large-ish inn about a day outside of your city. And Covington Blackthorn is at the center of such drunken celebration. One of your crews managed to take down a pirate captain who has been a pain in your ass for a couple years now. That and the fact that you, of all people, were attending an event in the Imperial Court was the best excuse to celebrate. In this air of jubilation, Lucy hands you a document that she wrote describing the various noble houses and a sealed letter addressed to you. Aaron Hoof looks over your shoulder at what Lucy wrote. These people, who still treat you as they did when you were their captain rather than their lord, are discussing what they expect when you all enter the Imperial Palace for the first time. They turn to you, asking you your opinion on the matter. As Conrad can get you the letter you receive, and the document is essentially your lore document.
Yes.
At least one of them is in canon.
The Bell, who at this point is extraordinarily drunk. He cannot hold his liquor. Fumbles with his mug. What's that?
Oh, there's nothing for you to worry your head about, my boy. You've already done a good day's work. Seems like I gotta go bump elbows with the rich folk. Since we're kind of up here in that status these days, I'm gonna have to figure out how to be a noble real quick.
I heard they like it when you're bright and colorful.
Oh, is that so? You know, that defines me. That's how I've gotten all my jobs so far and all the success that we've seen. I think I can do bright and colorful just fine. Lucy, can you go? We got a tailor in this town, right? Did he kind of got? No, he's still alive. Okay, good. Lucy,
I'm right here, your lord. You've been talking to me.
You know how it is once you get into cups. Lucy, can you go fetch us whatever? It's got to be in our colors. Whatever's on the banner there. I hear those lords like whenever you have everything matching up. So just get us whatever's on the banner. Get the colors. Give it. It's got to be nice. It's got to be the nicest. Make it out of a storybook if you can.
Understood.
Money's no object. We got plenty.
It never is for us. We can just go get more.
Exactly.
What's on that letter there? I mean, it's got a wax seal and everything.
It looks to be of one of the noble houses, too.
Lucy knows more about this than I do. I'm gonna read this. And he's kind of murmuring and squinting. You know, he's been drinking a good bit. He's learning. Lucy, who's this Countess Camilla? What do we know about Countess Camilla?
She would be the new wife of Count Canis Othos, the father of the Empress Dowager.
That sounds like a nice, good friend to have. Good friend to have. I think we should go make friends with this Countess Camilla. I was looking over this document here. What can you tell me about this Baron Miguel? How do you? It is. I'm not really sure about these. Miguel, okay.
Yes. They are an older house from the southern part of the continent. Merchants, bankers, they rule over the city of Aragard.
You think he'll like our spiced wine we've been producing here lately? Should we bring him a gift?
Why not bring everybody gifts?
Fantastic idea.
Everyone likes gifts.
A crate.
Yes.
Ironhoof crate. Can you carry? Yeah, you can carry a crate. Get a crate.
I can carry a crate. I can carry a crate.
Yeah. Get a crate. We'll make an entrance. We'll make sure everybody knows who we are. We'll put ourselves on the map, and we'll make friends with this here countess and that there baron. That'll be a good start anyway. That's as much as I can think about right now.
I mean, the count and countess are technically part of the imperial family, so they are very good friends to know.
Then we'll make them best friends we ever had.
Hear.
Entire tavern starts cheering at that. They don't know what the conversation was about, but you saying the
Another
best
round.
friends. ever
On
had
Blackthorn.
causes a huge uproar of cheers, spilling of mead and wine, which is a very different scene than
The polite clapping of a noble banquet. And you are led to the head table, where the Empress and 2 other barons sit. And you are directed to a seat on the opposite side. A couple seats in between a pair that seems to have already been seated on the left.
I'm the opposite side, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a rectangular table, and 2 of them are here, and then there's like a couple seats in between, and then you're over here.
Gotcha. I'm just gonna lean back and tell Iron Hoof that he can put down the crate for now. I don't think now's the time to pass out the wine, but we'll find the time and we'll make sure everybody gets some of that good Blackthorn spiced wine in them before today is done.
He salutes you and then hauls the crate over to one of the side tables where the entourages are seated.
Good.
And the other 2 of you see this very you thought Miguel was a little ostentatious when he entered. This guy may be giving him a run for his money.
I got that magic though.
That's true.
There's a new sound at the door, something very faint. A very faint sound of not trumpet music. And the doors slowly open as the heralds announce the arrival of House Harpus.
Immediately as the herald goes ahead and says this, they let out a sigh of exhaustion before just fully stepping to the side. All of the lights start to dim, emanating from the doorways, and the curtains shift to go ahead and let in a little bit more of the natural scenery. There's this violin somber notes that kind of echo in reverberations off of this large chandelier that's over the table, and Maelstrom Harpus enters the scene. He's 5'8" man. He's got long locks of blonde hair that kind of just drape over his ensemble. His outfit consists of a silk cravat of ivory. He has a gold embroidered waistcoat, and he's got shoes to accent the ivory with the ebony of keys on a harpsichord. He's got a red velvet cloak that sits upon his shoulder, and with a flourish, he flings it up, and you see the crest of House Harpus embroidered in the lining of it. There is a young woman that's only noticeable for a brief instance that keeps herself tucked behind Maelstrom's kind of performative entrance, and then her cloak billowing more of like a cream tone seems more like a fabric train behind Maelstrom than her own individual person. But he's gonna go ahead and give a smirk. This is his realm, and he snaps, summoning the remainder of his entourage. This 6 foot tall man, 6'3" He has belts and buckles all over his body, adding to this visage of a strapping older gentleman, and there is a scent of the sea that is emanating from his gray hair. There is also, on the other side, another gentleman with staunch white hair and this raven robe and a black cane with kind of this metallic, it almost seems like the skull of a bird. On the other side, seeming to observe the social scene as all 3 descend in a perfectly choreographed line.
As the performance of this entrance eliciting far more clapping than the previous entrances have from the other houses. We think back to the beautiful, elegant practice room in the Harpus mansion, as Maelstrom is practicing his instrument with his friend Anon.
The music room in the House Harpus estate is grand. Instruments displayed about like the finest pieces of art in plush lounges for when your parents have had guests over to display the musical prowess of your house. Male, your lute is in your hands as you play The Noble Road, alongside your family's young ward, Kanan. It's a complicated piece, and your mastery over it has been well earned. As you both practice, your instructor, Macard, enters and quietly observes until the final note of the song settles into silence.
That was well done.
Kanan will kind of give a slightly stiff bow. Thank you. Sir?
Bows at the hip, full on 90 degrees before hopping back up for the pure entertainment value of his hair flipping back.
Your Sir, Lord Harpus, Ricard seems a little bit weirdly nervous, weirdly unnerved for him. Very confident, strong man. Comes to you and says, there's been a tournament that is coming up in about a month. Your father's not going to be able to attend. He's not well enough yet. He's gotten worse. You're gonna need to go in his stead.
Well, this seems like a prime time to go ahead and use one of the 6 plans that I have for making entrance into a giant social scene. So I'll go ahead and get on that, but don't feel too bad about my father not being able to make it.
The Baron Ronan be alright?
The healers are still unsure. They know it's not the plague. That is all.
A slight awkward silence falls over your 2 companions for a moment, as they are not as prepared for this as you seem to be, Maelstrom, especially young Canon.
Okay, so here's the deal. We're gonna have to go ahead and make sure that everything is set up correctly. The goal of the evening is to make everybody forget about the fact that my father might be feeling a little bit under the weather, but he will rebound like he always does. Trust. Don't worry about that. I mean, Noctalis has him in his hands, and I think that he is in wonderful standing.
Of course, sir. Will I be able to go?
Ooh, that would go ahead and make only 4 of the plans viable, but one of those 4 is my favorite. So yes, of course. Macard, if you would also join?
I think I might have to, yes.
Perfect. That narrows it down to 2. And then I need to know, do you think River's gonna attend or not?
Is River a good idea? I heard that he may have... Does he not have ties to some... Never mind.
Unsavory? Yes.
Well, I mean, that's the element of a wild card. I mean, I need to know what kind of deck we're playing with.
He is quite skilled.
You're going to be walking into something that I will not be able to fully advise you on. There are new, to continue to use the metaphor, there are new players at the table and new cards in the deck. The last time we were at court.
It's ever changing.
It will be also a very good time for us to gather more intel on the various houses.
Sure. I'll go ahead and look at who's deep in drink and who's staving it off. Obviously, there's pros and cons to both of those situations, but I'll probably partake in some light drinking. And River knows about the best rum, so honestly, if we can get him to come along, that would narrow it down to my favorite option before the entrance.
As long as you are following your father's plans for the tournament that weren't just the entrance.
Sure, yeah, I can go ahead and start thinking about tactics and things like that, but honestly, we just need to talk about the education programs mostly. It's all word of mouth, it's a lot of networking, I think is what they call it.
I did hear there's Countess Camilla Othos. She is a headmistress of the Angel Hill Mages Academy. She may be a good, could be ally, could be person we need to take down a notch, depending on her attitude.
Well, I for one can't wait to meet her. I would very much enjoy both of your presences there, and then we'll go ahead and figure out who else will be accompanying in the entourage. But it's all good. Just don't worry about the bad, honestly. You are such negative individuals, and it really harshes the mellow.
I will keep that in mind,
With-
sir.
And with that statement, bring back to the end of your small performance as you enter the ballroom and are seated next to a very almost a man who looks like he bought a new suit and hasn't quite broken it in yet.
Yeah, Mel will look over and just go, I dig the feather cap.
Oh, thank you, sir. I think this one actually, not the rest of this. This has been with me a long time, but this, I'm still getting used to these threads y'all have. I'm more comfortable in a field than in a ballroom, but I'll figure it out. Nice to meet you. I'm Blackthorn, Baron Blackthorn. Now, not as General now, Captain and Painting. Anyway, good to meet you. Shakes his hand.
Titles. Maelstrom Harpus.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Harpus. I'll let it go on, but yeah.
And last but certainly not least,
The shaking himself off and pumping himself back up, the announcer steps forward to read the entrance of House Valerius.
Okay. As the doors swing open, there's a grouping of 4 individuals led by a younger man. He'd like to think so, at least, probably about mid-30s. He's got a tan complexion, long scarlet red hair, and a golden threaded suit, black tie. Other than that, he doesn't wear much jewelry. Very simple presentation. To his right, you see a very pale-skinned young woman wearing kind of a seafoam green gown with a cream-accented scarf and hood to kind of not necessarily hide her features from the public, but to conceal. To his left, a much more ostentatiously dressed woman with similarly scarlet red hair, covered in jewelry, long earrings, pearl necklace, gorgeous white gown, big smile, bright scarlet red lips, smiles down on the crowd. And behind the 3 of them, standing imposingly, roughly a foot taller than the rest of the entourage, is a similarly heavily armored knight. No shield, but he does carry a greatsword on his back, the pommel of which is an emblazoned token, scarlet red with a golden phoenix printed onto it. There is no bricks, there are no magic sparkles, just a very simple looking around at the crowd as he whispers under his breath, better to be a hunter amongst peafowl.
You hear a small chuckle from the dark-haired woman beside you. Quite.
And in this strangely intimate moment between the two of you, in this crowd of people, think back to a similar moment 2 weeks ago at the high mountain estates of House Valerius in your darkened study room next to a warm fireplace as you play dragon chess with your wife.
The dragon chess board is set. Killian, across from you is your wife, Mauricia. Your estate's library is a cozy room full of books, plush furniture, and dust on top of shelves far above what any guest would actually notice. Outside, a summer storm rages. The estate is quiet. It was not too long ago you had to dismiss another couple of servants. But in this moment, as you both consider the board in front of you, Mauricia says, "Another thing my great-aunt said in her letter was the Imperial mage, Irene Prodroma, is looking for an apprentice. Someone to take over the mantle after she retires."
And you would like to take up this mantle, I presume?
I mean, I think it is something interesting to keep in mind, my love. I am not the only one in the family with some level of magic, and such a position would give us an edge at our current fortunes.
Killian moves one of the chess pieces, not fully thinking about the game. That would be good for us. Do you have the details on hand?
Not yet, as I said. It was simply a mention in my great-aunt's letter. And it is only a rumor that she managed to hear around the capital, too. So perhaps we could talk to the Lady Irene. I heard she's at least a friendly woman. She was a member of the court. She served the last emperor, so she's probably just wanting to, as I said, retire and live out the rest of her life.
Do we need to set something up to meet with her, or will she be at this upcoming, what is it, a festival of some sort?
The grand tournament, my love, and she will be there, as she is going to have to be there. So many people need to be defending the Emperor's side. And Mauricia makes another move on the chessboard as well.
Very well. We'll see to it that this position is granted you one way or the other.
Does not need to be I, my love, but I would much appreciate it.
I believe you would be best suited out of anybody in our house. You know, we do, how should I say, we intellectual types.
I was
You-
trained formally. That is correct.
That. I believe you would be the best fit.
It also means we'll spend most of our times in the Imperial estate.
You see, he kind of looks around, takes note of the dust. A welcome change, I think.
Of course. And with that, we return to your entrance, which, compared to those of the men before you, was quite calm. But you are from an ancient house, and so your presence is heavy on the room as all eyes watch as you approach the table and take your seat.
You are seated in between a very sharply, elegantly dressed young man in red and a smiling man with long, curly black hair.
A pleasure. Lord Killian Blair is at your service.
I want to turn to Pius, as everyone has made their introductions. I figured we're all within earshot of each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to turn to Pius and go, Dios mío, does he need some tea?
Sounds like he's trying to fuck my brain through my ears.
I don't think he has fucked anything through anybody.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Maybe we could get him, like, some hot lemon or something.
Ginger too, yes.
Old remedies are the best.
I'm going to assume I hear all of that, and I'm just going to say nothing about it.
No,
Your-
they're.
Your wife,
I mean,
your wife
if
gently
you
tapped
want to
on
try
the-
and
I'll make a perception check,
if you
yeah.
want to, I was like, yeah,
Yeah, make
Miguel,
a-
if you're trying to hide what you're saying, make a deception check.
or a stealth check. Deception or stealth.
You know, it's stealth check, yeah.
Yeah. And you can make a perception, Killian.
Yeah.
I'm going to subtly cast Enhance Ability on myself to give
Oh,
myself
shit.
advantage on that.
Oh man, just to hear us talking shit.
It's
not
already
bad.
happening.
No, he's so petty. Don't do that.
Make sure to mark off your spell slot
I did,
God damn-
and your sorcery
and my
points.
meta magic. Yes, I did.
I'm charisma in deck, not dex based.
That will be a 19 on my perception.
Shit. That was a 12, an 11 plus 1.
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
Killian,
I would say. Go ahead.
You hear the little bit of gossip from your entrance. And as you kind of gather, a few more people are entering the ballroom. Some of the still greater houses, but not ones with the same level of power as influence as you. Very quickly, one after the other, they don't really get a full separate ceremony as each of you do. They kind of come in one after another. They're announced as House Accius, two young women stride in side by side, one with kind of
One with bright red curls and a broader build, quite tall. And beside her is a pale and dark-haired woman. Both of them are wearing the red and orange colors of House Accius.
they aren't like linked together, but they walk almost perfectly in unison with one another. Right after behind them is announced House House Patricia. A little bit more grand as the trumpet blows out a different melody, and a couple of people in the sides kind of take off their hats and give a quick bow of deference as the party walks in.
In walks Count Vel Severus Patricia, a tall man, also olive-skinned with short, curly dark hair and a finely trimmed beard. Next to him is a thinner woman, also quite a height, with long blonde hair. Both of them are dressed very, very fine, mostly dark colors, but shot through with brighter pinks and a gentle dark blue for Countess Eugenia, his wife. They are arm in arm, and they are followed by
right behind them is a shorter man, kind of dressed similar to some of the other guards and bodyguards that have approached with the other houses. Shorter, wearing slightly rougher clothes, some still nice leather armor, and carrying a great hammer. Does everyone want to make a perception check?
Ooh, I would like to make a perception check.
Assuming my hour hasn't passed yet.
no,
14.
not in the slightest.
Can I rock a passive perception, or do you need an active one?
Go ahead and give an active one.
Yeah.
DC 14.
I got a 15 plus 6.
I got a 6.
I got a 17.
Dirty 20.
Also a dirty 20. 17 plus 3.
Okay.
I think that's everybody but Miguel.
Miguel, you are very distracted by the beauty of Countess Eugenia, wearing a very low-cut gown, and her very, very beautiful blonde tresses. Everyone else would catch that the person walking behind them, some of you who have been in court longer probably calls to mind this person with shaggy red hair, appears to be a half-dwarf. Very rare sight in the Empire, and even rarer in the Imperial Court. And
Which house was this
behind
again?
group,
Sorry.
House Patricia.
House Patricia.
House Patricia.
And directly behind them, walking, spine stiff as a steel beam, in a formal position, walks an older man in opulent clothing. As House Prodroma is announced, and the older Count Velosian.
His heels,
And
behind him, are his 2 grandchildren. A youth with reddish blonde hair and just the slightest bit of facial hair coming in, is Lord Drusus. He is a bit wiry, not quite as tall as his grandfather, also wearing quite expensive clothing that he doesn't quite look comfortable in. And quite to the opposite effect is his sister, Lady Thignosia, wearing a very fine gown that she looks like she was born to wear. She walks with her head held high and a gentle smile on her lips. Both of them are young, 20 and 18. Both closer in age to the Prince Narcissus, rather than most of you, actually.
And then the There is sort of a pregnant pause in the room as the herald waits, and then doors close, and the Emperor stands to address the assembled company.
He stands, a goblet of wine held high. And I will also quickly mention, at your table, with you all, is a dark-haired woman, curly dark hair, cream and blue colored gown, very slightly pregnant, just starting to get a noticeable baby bump. Next to her, as she gently rests her hand on the arm of a quite aged man, receding hairline, beard that looks a bit unkempt, wrinkled face and hands. You do notice a slight resemblance between him and the Empress Dowager, similar facial structures. And also with them is another young man. They're all wearing the sigils of House Othos. Blonde, dark hair. Doesn't seem to be paying much attention to any of you, to be honest. Seems more focused on his eyes gazing at the others already in the room. But as the Emperor stands and holds his goblet aloft, he says, "I welcome all of you to the Imperial Court here in Empersel. It has been too long since we have officially been able to gather together and be the strength our great empire needs. The plague has taken much from all of us, and I simply wish that we can come back from this era of darkness to be stronger. And so, I wish to toast not only to our great empire, but to my brother Narcis's 18th birthday, and the unity that we may find all gathered here together again." And everyone around you will start clapping.
Here.
You do notice the elderly man, Count Canis, knocks over his goblet, and wine spills across the tablecloth, dripping off as his goblet makes a loud shatter onto the floor. Oh,
He lifts it and it kind of slips out of his weak, feeble hands.
Where is he at in terms of the organization of the table? Because you said it was a long, stretching, like, banquet table?
So there's on one side, so there's kind of in the middle is where the Emperor and the Empress Dowager and the Prince are sitting, and in front of one side there's the six of you, and on the other side sits the Count and the Countess and Lord Tiberius, and a couple of the other house heads, like the house head of Lord Prodroma and Lord Patricia and Lady Nicaeus. So he's kind of just on the other side of the Emperor and Prince.
But we're all on the same side of the table?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, I thought we were on separate sides of the table.
No, it's like sitting on a Last Supper style. Everyone's sitting on one side of the table, looking out at the hall.
You are the
the
important ones.
No, I mean, I thought there was the middle, and then there was me and Miguel on one side, and then the way I must have misheard it was that you sat the other people down the other end of the table. I didn't realize they were sat so close.
Sorry, I was just trying to kind of indicate
No,
the
it's-
seating,
sorry,
the
that's
seating
all-
arrangement.
Yes, you guys are all kind of grouped together on one side. The other house heads are on the other. Emperor's in the middle.
Does this spill happen within 10 feet of me? Or is it a little farther?
Hey, if not,
You
does it
are
happen
on
within 10 feet of me?
Sly dog.
It would be within 10 feet of... Would be in the 10 feet of Mael. Miguel, you're actually seated further towards the edge of the table, so it wouldn't be within 10 feet of you.
Okay, that's fine. I'm in no hurry. It's not my moment to shine.
I'm gonna snipe the prestidigitation. Yeah.
What do you do?
Mail is going to kind of like flick out his wrist, and as he does, just kind of like apparating from the air are going to be these small kind of like harp strings, and he's gonna pluck at them, and in the direction of there, this like looting sound that is going to clean up the mess of wine.
Okay. Mael, as you do this, can you make another perception check for me, please?
Sure. Ah, gosh darn it. There's probably somebody else within 10 feet that can cast it too.
We're gonna start like counterspelling each other's prestidigitation.
No,
No, I must clean it up.
That
This
was
is a social embarrassment. How dare you stop it from happening?
That was a 13.
would say be. Oh, okay. Yeah, as you clean it up, the Count looks over at you. Oh, thank you. My hands are not what they used to be.
This is the old man who sat next to the young pregnant woman, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
immediately turn to Miguel after he says, like, these hands are what they used to, and I'm just like, well, apparently everything else works, though.
He just kind of eats it. he tries not to show a laugh.
A steward brings Count Canis another goblet of wine, and they also bring out the variety of dishes on the tables in front of you. You have whole roasted chicken flavored with coriander, pepper, and garlic, dumplings stuffed with spiced beef and vegetables served alongside soybeans, fried veal drizzled with honey and dotted with raisins, plates of oysters, dishes of steamed fish, bowls full of melons, berries, ducks covered in red sauce, loaves of bread with butter. It's a very expensive, very over-the-top feast for the first day of the tournament.
What's everyone going for? What's their food of choice as this banquet is laid out in front of them?
Covington's diving into that roast chicken. He's just ripping it barehanded. He's chopping it down like he's in a mess hall at a field camp. And he's just shoveling. He's taking some of the bone and some of the leftover meat and some of the bread and just shoving like sauces and leftover bits of foods and stews and all there and just shoveling that. Just having a grand old time. Whatever comes by, he's grabbing it. He's putting it on the plate as it comes by.
And Killian is just eating properly, and his eyes are trained on that mess. That mess of uncourtly behavior.
Oh, don't worry. Covington's having conversations in the meantime. He's leaning over to Maelstrom over here and being like, "That was a fancy trick you did, Jesse. Yeah, you'll have to teach me how to do that one someday." And the harp, that was just it was beautiful. I'll let you just take some chow.
Probably
Yeah, it was a good one
flicks
there.
on his face. Maelstrom's somewhere in between, I guess, those two, because he is using table manners, using correct silverware and everything, but everything that he eats is made into a sandwich of sorts. So he's grabbing like strips of bacon, he's delicately taking out the oyster and he's wrapping it. He'll go ahead and cut a few slices of bread, and then he'll go ahead and kind of shovel in some of the chicken in between it. Everything has to be sandwiched for him to be able to eat it.
Covington is very curious about this methodology. He's going to ask where you picked that up. That's interesting way, and that could be. You might not realize this. I don't know why no one's ever thought of this before. That could be a really efficient way in the field to deliver food. Where you're putting it together, you just have this little cube. That's a great idea. You're gonna have to give it. Can I buy that idea off you? I want to sell that idea.
If you're interested, I could go ahead and draft up a contract. He will go ahead and pull out a piece of parchment and like set it on the table between the two of us, and it's very obvious as probably the conversation continues that there's no splatter coming from Mail's area, but there is splatter coming from Covington's area. So there's just flicks on like one side of the parchment.
Covington tries to snap, realizes he still has a glove on that he hasn't taken off. It's just covered in chicken grease now. Takes it off. Snaps. Lucy, come here. Can you make sure this legal? This all checks out. I want to buy this man's. What do you call this, sir?
Well, growing up, I never really had anything that was just by itself. Food was often mixed, so I figured this was the cleanest way to go ahead and layer things. I believe this, and he'll point with a fork at the face down, of course, at the oysters wrapped in bacon, and just say, I believe this is called Angels on Horseback.
I'm sorry, it's called what now?
Angels on Horseback. Everything has a name.
Oh, let's see. We just call it food. Rations, mess. So it's a whole new world to me. But if this isn't like in the public, or if I can, I don't know if I can just own the rights to this, Lucy. You make sure if this is possible, then we'll have our people meet your people. We'll make it happen.
Lucy, hearing her name being called, a lot of your other house members are at the other tables, mingling with other secretaries, knights, other folk of that ilk. Hearing her name, she has like a dumpling, like stuffed. She's like stuffs some dumpling into her mouth and like runs over very quickly. Sorry, sir. What do you need?
Don't you think that this would be fantastic in this method of food delivery?
Oh.
Like, if we can package this.
It would be great, especially on ships. It would make it so much
Exactly.
easier. Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful.
We could get anybody going in our trade wrestling. He's already got a contract here. It's a little messy on my side. Sorry about that. But he's got a contract here.
Baron, Lord, I will look over this. Thank you, your graciousness.
Thank you, Lucy. Your savior as always. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just go have fun with your new friends.
And she'll take the contract and run back, and you can see she's eagerly describing it to Belle and Ironhoof, who also look very enthusiastic about this revelation.
Miguel and Pius, what in the feast are you picking out and eating as this commotion happens a couple seats down from you?
So almost on the opposite side, Miguel is eating with intense intent. I think he would have picked up some of the more grainy stuff, more seafood-based stuff, kind of stuff that tastes like home, to see if it's up to par of the stuff that's from home. Each bite is very particularly cut, sliced the meat from the bone, the rice that's picked up, the oysters that are shucked, and very slowly savoring each flavor and not treating it like a garbage disposal. With each bite, there is a faint hint of romance almost on his face as he savors each bite.
Roll me an insight check to see if you can figure out if this is from your trade routes.
Better be.
It's certainly as the flavor is certainly as good as back home. The Imperial House halls employ only the best chefs.
Yes.
I got a 13 plus 5.
Yeah, you realize that as you kind of also think about it, you realize that one of your oyster ships did have a huge delivery that had gone upriver towards the center of the empire, towards Empercell. So you do realize that yes, these are from your very own trade routes, your very own fishermen.
I think he just giggles with the familiarity in his taste buds and just goes, flattery.
Pius, what about you?
Before he starts eating, Pius like sort of like bows his head in like prayer, as like a grace of sorts. He sort of mutters some words under his breath. Though this is not just a hollow gesture, he actually casts purified food and drink.
Oh!
Ooh.
As part of his sort of pre-meal thing there. So he's like muttering under his breath, and he takes a little bit of everything to put on his plate, but it's all separate. Everything's separate. Like distinctly separate. And he'll sort of like try one thing and then sort of like move on to the next. And if he likes it, he'll then go back and then maybe combine one thing with another thing to see how it is. But everything has to start separate. Nothing gets mixed until he's decided that it's worth mixing.
Pius, make me a performance check, as
Okay.
you do cast a spell in the Imperial household
Yes.
at the high table.
Yeah, what would I roll against that? Because I'm sitting right next to him, right?
What are you trying to do?
I want to see if he's casting a magic, like if he's casting spell.
I would perception or insight, maybe.
Okay.
Insight.
Yeah.
You can roll insight against his performance.
Yes.
Oh, my performance was 10.
Come on, fire tonight.
10 total.
Yeah, well,
Alright.
yeah, in total. Comrade, get used
Oh,
to
okay.
this. Get used to these. Get used to these low rolls, my friend.
I'm on fire tonight with a 21.
Yeah, Killian would very clearly clock some holy aether, some divine magic being put forth into this plate as Pius, 2 sits down from you, mutters a prayer.
Not only Killian, but also you would feel some eyes on your back, and though she's been there the whole time, she's somewhat blended into the shadows, but you feel the eyes of the Imperial Mage Irene Prodroma on your back, as obviously her job is to protect the Emperor from magic, and she's luckily deduced that this magic is not at all dangerous, but you are now definitely in her line of sight.
I think between bites, Gillian will lean over and just say, "You know, for a man of the cloth, you chose some rather vulgar language to describe how I speak.
Oh,
You should
well,
watch yourself."
gosh. Well, I stand by what I said. That's what it sounds like. I wouldn't say nothing behind no one's back that I wouldn't say direct to their face. Do you need, like, a hot drink with some lemon? You alright?
I think that was the majority of our conversation. It wasn't meant to offend. It was, do you talk like that? Is that an injury? Do you need, and please, our servants here, if you need some hot warm tea, or if that's just how you talk, then
I can
no.
intercede. I can intercede with the gods and try and heal your throat, if that's what needs be.
I appreciate the gesture, but no.
All right.
This is just how I sound.
Ah, see. He sounds like he lifts scrolls, and I sound like a little boy, so we all sound very differently.
I guess you could say it's a byproduct of my surroundings.
I see.
Yes,
Gold and beautiful women, incense, and
No, it's about right. No, you hit it on the head there. Honestly, it's like incense and prayer.
Stone quarries, mostly.
Ah.
There's a good chance I had a hand in building your house.
What you personally like?
Possibly. Was probably there to oversee at one time or another.
Please, we all have very deep and rich history together.
Food's
What
good,
is
though.
everyone's passive?
Food is delicious.
What's everyone's passive perceptions?
21.
Mine would be 13.
21.
21, yes.
16.
Oh,
Though,
Okay.
if you're allowing a magical effect to add a +5 to that, then it would be an 18.
Well, to be fair, Killian and Miguel, you would kind of already be aware of this. But I'd say anyone with a passive perception over 14, outside of Miguel and Killian, you would notice that at the other end of the table, Countess Novia Aecus and Lady Umbria beside her are subtly handed these two, each of them a sealed envelope. But Killian and Miguel, for you would notice that your house members, Gwen and Sarcona, are also handed these sealed parchment papers. The seal
These
on it.
servants are. Oh, I'm sorry.
The seal on it is that of the Imperial House.
Sorry, who gets the letters?
It will be Gwen of House Belerios and Sarcona of House Leon. But you also notice that Lady Umbria and Countess Novia of House Aecus also received them.
The servants are very nondescript, just in like a very dark blue doublet with a little crest of the shield and crossed swords of the royal house on the breast. These servants have been kind of all over the event, serving food, dishes, almost blending into the background, and just very subtly presenting this envelope to each of these four women.
Does Gwen make a motion to open the envelope, or is she just holding it for now?
She will very subtly open it and take a look. Same with Sarcona. They're not able to at the moment get up and come show you what it is. But I think you, Conrad, you want to go ahead and send them what the contents are so they can mull over it?
I have a question while the contents are being sent.
Yes. What is your question?
Can Covington kind of like slyly, subtly get the attention of Lucy and, just kind of catch eye contact with her and just kind of head nod towards someone who's opening the letter to see if she can work her magic and just subtly figure out what's going on over there.
Covington, what was your passive perception?
16.
16. Okay, so yeah, you did catch it.
Yeah.
Make a. What kind of check does one do to try to like head nod to a subordinate?
Would it be stealth, charisma?
Performance.
Or
Sleight
Would
of
it be
neck.
charisma?
we could do
It'd be-
your stealth
Performance?
modifier on charisma. So if you have,
Charisma,
like,
stealth modifier.
so if you have,
mean- Fine, there's stealth, okay. So just roll charisma and add stealth.
is
Do
that
you
how-
have proficiency in stealth?
yes, that's also it.
Oh, okay.
Do you?
14 total.
All right, and let's see. Does she notice? She rolled a 12 on perception for Lucy, so I don't think
Lucy
she
is
notices.
very much too much talking about
She's
the contract to your other two friends over there.
That's fair. There will be other opportunities. This just comes and goes, so he's just going to return to his delicious roast chicken.
Miguel isn't very concerned with Sarcona getting the note. That'll go in the briefcase when we get to our rooms. We'll discuss it.
Killian, on the other hand, is concerned about a note that was handed to his cousin so shortly after the feast began. He's going to subtly cast a message, so effectively telepathically asking her, what does it say?
There's a slight pause before you hear Gwen's voice. I have been invited for tea by the Dowager Empress. Private. Is that all the words? I was not counting.
Message doesn't have a word count.
It does it not?
No,
Sending
It does.
has
It
a
has a
word count.
25.
Sending has a word count.
Sending has a 25 word count. Message does not have a word
yeah.
count.
Message
Uh,
is just
So you have to
telepathic
point
talk.
at them. You have to go, which?
Yeah.
Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me!
It's like, hey!
So, invited to a private tea by the Dowager Empress to discuss serious matters of the heart. Tomorrow morning.
I think he'll just give her a subtle nod.
And you would also be aware that tomorrow morning is also the opening joust of the tournament.
And the timing would be at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This...
I
So I notice all of these letters being handed out.
Mm-hmm.
I think so like I'm eating and I sort of notice it and I turn to Miguel and just like, oh, look like the Empress is doing her best to try and get that boy married already.
In the world of politics, things tend to move very fast.
Alright, well that's all eligible women from big houses. So can only imagine that's why they're all being given them letters. I didn't get one.
Maybe they'll save you for different circumstances.
Don't know if I'm going to be a good match for him, to be honest.
You know, times are changing.
No, I mean, absolutely. To each their own. Just, I don't think I'm going to match up with the standards she's got for her boy.
No, I think the muy mal. The Gallus, you might kill him, to be honest.
I don't know who you've been talking to, but well.
And he'll kind of go like this, and he'll be like, my right hand I was talking to.
Everyone's got a right hand.
For those of you with a passive perception of 15 or over, as you've also kind of noticed these notes being handed out, you would also see that on one of the walls, a variety of the house banners, all of your house banners, are hanging up. And there's one of note that is on the wall. It is a dark blue and green banner with a golden ship's wheel in the center, and some a circular shape surrounding it. And you notice that nobody is wearing the colors of this house. Nobody
There's-
seems.
Oh, no,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
didn't mean to interrupt.
There's no knights with it on their shields. There's no lords or ladies adorned in it. Though, Covington,
I was
Give
gonna
me
say
a
there's none, not anymore.
give me a history check. Well, actually, no, you do know. You do.
Yeah, I feel like I would know. in
You,
this scenario.
You're quite familiar with the banner. It is
Yeah.
strange that it is hanging up in your eyes, but the rest of you notice that despite the fact this is hanging up, nobody is wearing these colors.
And conspicuously, on the other end of the table, there is an empty seat.
Somebody couldn't be bothered to show up on opening night.
So
I mean, in
another
fact,
question.
there is a second banner on the walls that there is no attendance here as well. A blue banner with a ring of keys and a spider web in the middle.
And-
Although doesn't appear to be an empty seat for that house.
Maybe the invited got rescinded.
Another question on this this first banner.
Yes.
Would Covington be aware that there was anybody left to invite from this house?
Make a history check for me.
Make a history check for that one, yeah.
16 plus 6, 22.
Nice.
So, you know about the event, obviously. And what had happened that week.
Yeah,
8 years
Covington was
ago.
very thorough, he thought.
Very thorough. You do remember they weren't around long, they were probably thrown into a bonfire somewhere at some point. That there were some letters and notes from a house member who no longer lives there. A couple of house members actually who no longer lived there. And may have distanced themselves from the main house. At the time, at least.
Yeah, you would distinctly remember there was a woman who had actually abdicated her royal privileges, noble privileges, and moved to become a very successful matron and performer. Matron Cassian Malota, who was elderly at this point in her late 60s.
Covington's just gonna file that away to talk with Lucy about later.
Yes. So, you all feast upon the food set in front of you. Are there any other conversations you are having amongst yourselves as you eat?
Or any conversations with those at the other side of the table, as it would not be hard to speak with the other noble houses nearby.
I think Killian is going to be waiting for a bit more of a private setting to approach a few people.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that Covington was just gonna go ahead and have his new line of pre-mold spiced wines passed out to all the participants. Just, free sample. Try it out. Let us know what you think.
You find you're kind of under, similarly to how Pius was under the gaze of Irene, you find you are under the gaze of the Empress Dowager, who looks a little miffed that you would dare decide that your wine is better than what she has provided at
Oh,
the
she
opening
misunderstands
banquet.
me, but that's fair.
Though some of the other lords and ladies do look quite impressed by the drink.
It's a fine drink.
It's not bad, but it lacks a certain bite.
Try warming it up in your cauldron later. Just you'll understand.
All the rooms have cauldrons, right?
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I think
Just don't let it boil.
Are there lit candles on the table, like candelabra?
There's some, but mostly it's a lot of natural light coming in from the garden.
I think if there's a candle close by when he says to heat it up, Hillian takes his cup and he just holds it over an open flame.
Helmington is just he's fine with this. He has nothing to say.
It's metal. Or glass. I don't know what the material of it is.
Yeah.
It's
Whatever makes
glass.
them happy, man.
They're glass, crystal glasses.
Crystal's fine under fire.
Someone fact check that for me.
Is any other conversations as the banquet begins to come to a close?
I'm gonna at some point like just stand up to go talk to my secretary real quick, and I'll pointedly go to him rather than having him come to me.
That is Anjul de Han.
And I'll sort of like
Yes.
yeah.
Your
I'll sort of
Holiness.
I'll just lean in. I'll just be like, it looks like the Dowager Empress is trying to assemble all the potential wives for the Emperor. He's always trying to get married off. Do try and figure out what gets talked about in that room for me.
Oh, okay. Tonight?
No, it's tomorrow morning during the joust, I think. Wait, I would not know that. I'm so
You
sorry.
would not know it.
No,
You would know about the
I am
legend.
so sorry. In that
You're
case,
good.
they're literally just like that's on me. I will just be like, not sure when it is, but it were I'll
Okay.
point out. I'll just be like, it was Lady Umbra, Lady can't read my own writing.
Countess
Look at the-
Bovia.
I'll point to the four. I'll
Yes.
mention the four people. I'll just be like, just see where they go all together.
We did forget to mention one person also received one was Lady Theognosia.
Podroma.
mention.
Podroma.
Prodroma, yes.
Yeah, that would be 5.
The 18-year-olds?
Yes.
All right.
I mean, that's how old the prince is about to turn as well.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Sarkona's like 45.
Yeah, there's actually a pretty big age range between these 4 women, or 5 women.
Yeah.
Cast a white
Yeah, so
net.
Anjul says, okay, yes, tours of business, figure out the itinerary, I want to do that anyway, and then I will follow them.
Not obvious, like
I'm Me?
you listen. You know what you're doing, right?
yes,
You got this.
I'm yes,
Figure it out.
yeah,
If you gotta pay some people to follow them for you, that's fine. Some of the staff will be, open to a bit of coin.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Don't worry, Your Holiness. I've got this.
All right. I'll sort of nod to Helena and saying to my spiritual advisor at the table, I'm just like, food's good. can't figure out oysters for the life of me. The guy next to me seems to be enjoying them though. Nice lad. I'll head back.
Elena will give you a nod in return as she is very happily eating the food provided. Woman's gotta eat. But as many of the lords and ladies, barons and baronesses, counts and countesses finish up, you are all invited to take a sojourn in the garden outside of the ballroom. As you know, people start getting up and making their way out there to view the large bubbling fountain carved in the shape of a dragon in the center, full of big leaf hydrangea bushes, flowering apple trees, oleander, lilies, jasmine, a veritable cornucopia of flowers. The Emperor will quietly leave. He is going to leave the dining room and start heading deeper into the Imperial Palace. A couple of guards do follow him.
As well as a young woman who approaches as he gets to leave, kind of approaches where she was stationed, kind of on the wall at the side, and comes into step with him as he leaves the event.
We all see this?
Yeah, he just gives a bow and excuses himself silently.
Be the king, I guess.
I'd say, yeah, probably everyone but Covington has been around court long enough to recognize who this woman is. It's the woman that comes into step with him is Lady Erin Castor, his half-sister, the half-elf.
But as you finish up your meals, you are all free to join the rest of the court in the garden, where, should you wish for a more private conversation with someone, it is not hard to accomplish amongst the bushes and trees.
As you all exit, there are many servants around with champagne and other light cocktails, coffee if you wish, tea if you wish, and many trays of small petite desserts and pastries and cream puffs and gooseberry tarts and little balls of some sort of sweet, airy fluff and smooth chocolate mousse and just these little aperitif bites. And as most of the nobles have made their way out onto the patio, the Dowager Empress takes a small little silver spoon, ding 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 ding, against a glass. Oh, it is so wonderful to have you all here.
Yes.
I'm so glad to have you all in my home and to celebrate this wonderful occasion of my younger son coming of age. And she kind of pulls him just slightly unwillingly pulls Prince Narcissus in. Now please, I want this night to be a celebration of the Empire and a celebration of our strength. And make sure not to have too much wine, as Grand Joust is tomorrow. Good luck! And she just kind of cheers you all, and the the lords and ladies give a clap.
As her speech finishes, those of you, I would say, actually, give me one moment. Ooh. Those of you who have a passive perception of 20 or above, unless you are actively kind of keeping an eye out, which I think is only one of you, would notice after a little bit the half-elf woman who had left with the Emperor slips into the garden and is somewhat joining the group that are around. But you are and another individual who is now currently not as on duty as she had been is the Imperial Mage Irene. She is, you see, Lord Velseverus and Count Velseverus, sorry, and Countess Eugenia approach her, and Countess Eugenia leans over and gives Irene a kiss on the cheek, and they are seemingly greeting each other quite warmly, quite friendly.
The three of them.
Yes.
Countess Camilla walks her husband to a bench and makes sure that he gets a seat before her and Tiberius or Othos walk together over to kind of a side area where there appears to be a punch bowl.
So all of the royals are available except for Emperor Honorius, as he had left prior.
Yes.
Correct.
Cool.
Everyone else has a little arrow over their head, or you
Yes.
can chat up and interact.
Yes.
Now I feel like it's Warcraft where we all get control of our characters and we have to start running around.
Cutscene's over. Let's go.
I just jump in place a couple of times. Just
Just to get.
You
make sure,
break
yeah.
the world of Winternock, thank you.
I want to pick up
Yeah.
the
You know
pot
what?
and put it over an NPC's head so they don't see me stealing.
While we're making this seance through the garden and the punch bowl and all that stuff, are there regular people walking around? Servants, less,
But yeah, there
more servanty?
there are
There
plenty
are,
of servants. Many of them are currently serving, doing their jobs with trays of both types of serving, with trays of drinks and the appetizers Conrad previously, or little desserts. I don't remember the exact word you used, Conrad. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Treats and foods Conrad described earlier.
There's
There
also
are
a line of guards kind of around the outer edge, ringed, very unobtrusive, just kind of up against the wall, in place, holding their halberds.
but
Not
very
looking to interrupt anything, just mostly there in case, just in case.
but also your secondary house members, Sarkona, Lucy, Gwen, the lot of them are also among the crowd if you would like to go and speak with them at any point as well.
Is Velseverus Patricia out and about as well? In the garden?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
He's currently, he and his wife are with the Imperial Mage, but
They seem to be greeting each other.
yes.
Okay. I'll let them do that and I'll go talk to Lucy. Which is pretty much just going to be, did you notice the banner?
Are you pulling her into a private?
Yes. As private as we can get.
Okay. Then
Without
I would
seeming like we're-
you to make a stealth check, please.
Yeah, sure thing.
So you make one as well. Ooh.
Oh,
What's your
19
roll?
plus 2.
So I rolled
21.
I rolled a 2 plus 4, so I'm gonna guess that more than makes up for Lucy's. I
Yes,
think she's
Lucy's
probably
not-
a little
She's a bit shell
inebriated.
shocked by all this. Yeah.
Yeah, this is so out of her element. She was not ready. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Poor Lucy.
the food. Oh my god, it's. But Ironhoof, he was literally shoveling it in his mouth, and everyone was looking at him funny, and I can't believe his manners are terrible. Can you believe
Yes, as
it?
well. Yeah, he's Ironhoof, of course. I need you to pay attention for me for a moment. Right? This is serious.
Attention. Yes.
Did you see the banner?
Which one?
Malona.
She kind of thinks for a second. Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
All of them.
I don't know why, but we need to make sure it's not a problem. So
Problem. Well,
I don't know if it's a problem. If it's not a problem, it's fine. I'm not worried about it. But we need to make sure it's not a problem. I need you to get a crew on it, track down where it is, she is, they are, whoever's left, and just we're not gonna make any moves. Just report back. I just need to know the moves of where they are and what they're doing.
yes, sir. I will. She'll nod, and you can tell, like, you can almost see the gears in her head are turning. Or did my pen just die? Okay, no. I was like, yes, sir. I will get all of the information to you as fast as I can. And she like goes to walk away, pauses, and then like gives you like a super like ostentatious like curtsy that she almost falls over doing. The alcohol, and she just like runs off.
And Covington's just gonna shout her, "Don't forget the contract for Maelstrom."
You just see her. She gives you a thumbs up as she runs off.
As Covington and Lucy wander off into the hedges, what are the rest of you doing?
Speaking of, is mail available?
Mail is making his way towards somebody, but he is available on the way there. He just says it
I'm gonna
shouldn't be
enter.
through.
I'm gonna intercept that. As you are pushing by, you just see out of nowhere a little bit more. You know, now that we got the food bloat going on and stuff, a little bit. The chest hair is out in the open, getting the nice, whatever season we're in, breeze, and everything. And Maelstrom, it's very nice to meet you again.
I'm not really good with names too much, but you obviously know mine, so could you give it to me again, please?
Do you want the long name or the abbreviated?
Long name's fine.
Miguel Alfonso Alvarez Garcia Diaz de Leon of Casa de Leon.
Ah, yes. Miguel, nice to see you again.
You know, I will say, I thought the pirate man upstaged me, but let me tell you, you brought a very magnificent swagger and aura that, quite frankly, I could not be upset about. I give you the honor of having the best introduction.
Oh, well, you are too kind, Miguel. I will say.
Sometimes I can be, but let me tell you, there is no smoke being blown up skirts here.
Well, it is most appreciated. I guess I'm just hawking my wares. I do know that the prince was a little bit interested in having some sort of big show for his own entrance. So, it's business.
And speaking of business, I would always be foolish to assume that you would not be here for some, I think we're all here to sales pitch something.
Yes, I suppose so. Not really breaking news. I just want to make sure that while everything's going on with the nobility, that people who are seeking proper education can go ahead and get one.
Beautiful. People of all shapes and sizes and religious affiliations. I think we all. It's still one big. We got favorites. I know. Well, I just wanted to say it's very nice to meet you, and if you need anything, I have my servants available to you. I see though that we might have all gotten the same big tall man at the same big tall man's store.
Sure, I suppose so. Though it does seem like that Blackthorn individual was kind of Corsarish himself.
I'm not sure I follow what that means, but I understand what you mean.
Is this private, or is Blackthorn finished up and just like floating around and hearing his name, or how's this?
Yeah, I think it seems like this was interception, so you're not being. Are you trying to be subtle about it, or is it just kind of a normal conversation?
I'm talking in the middle of people. I'm here to have like a conversation in the middle of Comic-Con, you know. So it's not exactly the quietest.
Let's say make a perception check.
Okay. I have a pretty good perception, but hopefully, not if I roll a 3, so 9 total.
Yeah, I would say, you
Too
know,
distracted.
there's so much other stuff happening around you, so many other conversations, and you're still waiting for Count Vel Severus Patricia
Yeah.
to be done with his current conversation that you happen to miss this instance.
Okay.
You know, speaking of the entrance, do you give lessons? Music is not something that our house is known for. Many of great things, see, but musica, not. I'm just maybe you or somebody you know gives lessons of some sort.
Sure. I mean, I don't think I'm necessarily the greatest teacher, but I will say that our house vizier, Macard, he's pretty skilled. He used to do choral things with some Church of the Pitchquill, I think it was.
I have a niece who started taking up piano and harpsichord and harp and but if I got rid of all of the musicians in the realm, I would be beheading lots of people that are not very good at it. It's one of the things I wouldn't mind importing to the south.
Well, I mean, honestly, there's plenty of other things that you can play. These glasses, they're a nice little crystal, so he'll go ahead and like lick his finger, and then he'll go ahead and put his finger around the rim of the glass. And if it's true crystal, it'll ring.
It does.
Oh, I
ring.
have.
Oh, yeah, go
I
ahead.
have to ask for a performance check.
Okay,
Sure.
that's fair.
I have to.
Sure. Let's see. This is kind of my thing. We'll say that. Yeah. So that's a nat 20.
Hey!
I have a plus 10, so that is a total of 30.
Wow.
Ooh, you know what, Aja? I'm gonna let you describe what musical magic do you
Marvel.
make with this glass?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna use it as a catalyst for a spell. So as he goes ahead and rings around the edge of it, just this like musical staff kind of peels off the top of the glass, and just 4 floating kind of music notes that slowly pull off and just kind of like orbit around the conversation of Miguel and Mail. And he's gonna cast Dancing Lights.
Wow.
Well, yeah, that was admittedly a little bit showy. I
A
retract my
little bit
statement.
showy.
Maybe I
A
won't be a good
little bit.
teacher.
Let me tell you, sweet, I can guarantee you, sweet love has been made in this exact kind of scenario. I mean, with the lights and the music. Very good show.
Well, once again, it's appreciated, your kind words, Miguel, Alfonso, Alvarez,
Let-
Garcia, Diaz, De Leon.
You can just keep it to Miguel. I mean, if I would not want anyone blowing smoke up my skirt, so, you know.
Own it. Why not?
But
You've got a flashy name.
I know, but everything else about the house is very flashy, so why not just keep some things modest? But I won't keep you too long. If there's ever any sort of things you want to chit-chat about, please, I am sure that we will be shown to our rooms or something like that. Feel free to stop by. I think you'll know which one's mine.
Agreed. And if you seek any audience with me, you can contact me or any of my 3 in the entourage. Just give them this, and he'll reach down into the satchel and he'll pull out a piece of paper that just it's practically like a Father's Day coupon that you would go ahead and give for like a free chore or something like that. It doesn't have a signature on it. It just has his name like printed at the bottom. But they'll know what it's about.
Ah.
But yes, Mail, you were approaching towards someone, so who were you heading toward?
The prince, if he's available, but I also want to give room to roleplay for other folks. So, if there's something that happened in the intermediary, that word.
Yes.
Yes, Killian.
I do have something actually. But first, I need to ask a question of the DMs.
Yes, sir.
When we spoke about my backstory and the construction aspect of things, we had mentioned some less conventional means of traversing the palace.
Yes.
Would I be able to find one of those in the courtyard?
Make a history check.
Advantage because family built palace?
I will say that this would have been an old enough building you would have had to go searching for it, so you would have access to it. But it will be not a super high DC.
Okay. I got a +1 to this, so let's... That's a 3. I'm gonna use a sorcery point and reroll that.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a 13 +1 for 14.
There
Are...
To your knowledge, there's not a secret passage in this courtyard off the ballroom. There are other ways to perhaps get into the palace, but this is not one of them.
Well, that's unfortunate. Let's go with one of my more conventional means then. He's going to walk behind a large hedge, and he's not going to walk back out because he's going to subtly cast invisibility. And
make a stealth check.
he's going to double back. That's a 19 +9 for 28.
Sure.
He's going to double back because of the fact that the Emperor is not joining the rest of the party. That was intriguing to him, so he's going to double back and see if he can figure out what they are doing.
Sure.
Here.
I think so. With a 28, no one notices the quiet, somber lord slip away from the party. As you work your way back into the palace. So,
He's not
see if
one
anyone
for
else has any
social
other-
gatherings, anyways.
see if anyone else has any other conversations, and we'll circle back around to sneaking through the palace. Pius, was there anything that you had that you wanted to do with the after party?
I'm standing. I'm not in the group that's around the Dowager Empress, but I'd be like in like one of the. So I imagine that her and her son are commanding the most sort of attention, and people will be sort of around them. I'm sort of in like a secondary group around them, but I'm watching her because I have observant. I'm essentially just listening to what she's saying by reading her lips. So I'm just paying attention, seeing if there's anything, any like bits of information I can sort of file away. Stuff that she's interested in, stuff that she's paying more attention to, people she says good things about, people she says bad things about, you know, just sort of watching.
The Empress is surfing a tidal wave of social well-wishers with a perfect poise and skill. Complimenting Lady's dress and the Lord's new ring, and introducing the prince, even though she says multiple times, I know it's 3 days early, but it is his big social debut. And generally there's not much kind of deep information going on. Everyone that's kind of circling around her is there to compliment her and to tell her how good the party was, and
just general
say,
glad handling.
Yeah, and she's responding in kind. You want to give me an insight check?
Yeah, sure.
18. I'd say the only person in that crowd with a different kind of vibe is a kind of younger woman, the 30s-ish, in plate, like the guards you've seen around Garden, but much, much, much fancier. And kind of standing kind of like one step back behind Queen, and is not in the festive social vibe, and is intently watching every single person that's around the Queen, Empress Dowager.
And I would also say that you would notice this person in the sense that they seem to be in a similar position to you, of kind of staying on the outside of some of these interactions, but would be the dark-haired half-elven woman, Lady Erin Castor. She also seems to be like observing who the Empress Dowager is conversing with.
Is Lady Castor interacting with anyone, or people, or is she being like pointedly ignored?
You see occasionally a few of the other younger ladies will approach her, specifically once Count Velseverus and Countess Eugenia depart from talking with the Imperial Mage. You'd see Eugenia would go up to her, and the two would start talking, mainly about news that has happened recently, about who they favor in the upcoming events, books they've read recently. It's a quite friendly conversation between the two women.
Okay. I'll make my way around until eventually I will sort of like reach the orbit of Lady Castor. But again, that can be pushed back after what AJ has planned, and then Zana has planned.
I think that'll be go to AJ, Conrad.
Sure.
Yeah. You approach Prince Narcisse.
And he's in the middle of this kind of like encirclement.
Yeah, he's also in this kind of tidal wave of social interaction, and he's sort of drowning, and not a little bit. He's doing his best, and he is still very much keeping his noble face, and very more interestedly talking to a lot of, if there's a younger lord younger lady that comes up, trying to engage them more in conversation about policy and the capital and their lands.
Sure. Then yeah, I think that Mail will kind of like sneak in. He'll go ahead and raise up his champagne glass so that he's kind of like fitting through everybody, and he's going to try to push over towards the prince and get in that combo.
Prince kind of looks like he is kind of giving a farewell to Lord Tiberius Othos as he kind of walks off and kind of looks over.
Tiberius
At
will
you.
kind of pat him on the shoulder warmly before he goes and wanders off to talk to other various people.
And yeah, Mail will kind of immediately kind of put his way in and just say, Prince Narcisse, I wanted to go ahead and formally make an introduction to you. Maelstrom Harpus, and he'll go ahead and put his hand out.
The prince will also kind of put his hand out, like,
Easily from a handshake over to grab, and he will go ahead and politely hold it.
it is a pleasure to meet you as well.
I did want to go ahead and follow up on something that I heard about you. No bad news, only good things about the prince, but I heard that in your kind of introduction to society, you were hoping to have something a little bit showy, a bit of a spectacle.
Oh well, my mother is it's more of my mother's idea. I am just very glad that I'm getting to speak with people like you from around the Empire.
Does he seem sincere as he says this? This might be a total misstep if this guy's like he's actually like this.
Make an insight check.
Alrighty. That is...
Agent just like, oh no, he's a nice guy.
I know, right? I'm like, oh, actually.
No.
It's an 11 plus 5 for a 16.
For a 16, he seems sincere. He seems sincere. Well, and I love spectacle as much as the next guy. And yeah, I mean, obviously I've been to your family's parties before. They're great. Yeah, I mean, but I'd love to chat with you about that, or maybe about how you're feeling about how the Empire is right now, and how you're feeling about the new policies that have been being put out, and just kind of gauge your I'm sorry, this is supposed to be a celebration.
No, it's perfectly fine, Prince. I would love to go ahead and talk a bit about policy and my genuine interest in the good of the Empire. And it's like so painful. He's like, at this point, he had like his fingers lightly holding up the glass. Now they're like strained, pressing against the stem of the glass.
Oh, that's... I appreciate you taking the time. What's your thoughts on my brother?
What? That's not really politics. Well, he's not really, making himself available in the same way that you are.
No, I mean, that's... I've tried to tell him that before. He's really been sort of really reclusive recently. I mean, the last couple years. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, maybe he's a little bit jealous. He's not getting this big old premiere that you are. He got his once upon a time, but now that it's you, maybe he feels like he had to step aside a little bit.
Oh, well, sure, I know, I appreciate that, but it's been longer than the couple of months we've been planning this. And, he just doesn't see people that much. I mean, only people he really is ever willing to want to talk to is me and mother and our sister. He kind of like stumbles just for a half sec when he says sister.
Half second? Crazy. Mel just goes, well, if you are the only ones that he seems to be keen meeting with, maybe you could serve as a liaison between another audience, maybe one with the illustrious Harpus household.
I would love to be able to speak on behalf of the royal house or the Harpus household.
I mean, put in a good word, I'd be happy to go ahead and chat his ear off. I'm sure after a conversation with me, he will definitely want to be hopping back into the social scene. There's so much available. Honestly, it was as bountiful a harvest as what I would say that feast was that we had back there. Meeting all of these people, rubbing elbows with folks, networking, that's what they call it.
Indeed. Yes. Perhaps I don't want to keep you. And kind of look at there's a few other people kind of doing like the half hesitating, waiting for the conversation to be over. Oh, I don't want to keep you, but there's perhaps a couple other people I'd like you to meet, perhaps tomorrow or the day after, if you could make some time.
Sure, if you can add the king onto that list, it would be most appreciated, but I will say, maybe I was slightly off-put by your demeanor when I first came up for this conversation, but my household does believe in the social connections being a strong foundation to any sort of beneficial relationship with anybody, be it institutional, familial, or otherwise. So I think we're aligned in that way.
Well, definitely. Do you want to make one more insight check
Sure.
as you move to leave?
He better not be totally blowing smoke. Gosh darn it. Miguel manifested this.
I am the only genuinely nice person here. I just want you to know that right now.
That one's 9 plus 5, so 14.
Yeah, he seems to be just being genuine and maybe glad to have found a kindred spirit.
Cool. All right. I mean, his mom's having the women meet tomorrow, but I mean, there's Bachelor and the Bachelorette, so Mel will take his leave with his champagne flute behind him.
I think at this point we can actually move back to Covington. I believe wanted to speak with Lord Count Velseverus.
Yes, has he become available?
He has.
Yes, they kind of split off, and a couple of them went over to speak with Lady Erin.
Okay.
by
Kind
himself.
of meta talk to DM thing here. Saga, you remember our conversation about the relationship between Blackthorn and this house?
I do.
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, obviously nothing official has happened, so Covington's gonna just approach Velseverus and introduce himself for the first time, having never met this man before ever. He's gonna do his little unnecessary courtly bow, and he's just said, "Oh, I'm just introducing myself to everyone. Covington Blackthorn at your service."
Ah, yes, the new Baron. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
I think
Pleasure's all mine.
he's gonna
Did
make
you
a
enjoy
deception
that?
check, and you also make a deception check.
Okay. 22.
Oh, he rolled a 2. So you are keeping with your very genial, normal kind of boisterous self, and Velseverus looks very stilted and slightly uncomfortable to everyone around them.
It's just because I'm so boisterous. I'm sure I'm just throwing him for a loop. But yeah, I hope you were enjoying that gift of the mulled wine. I know you're a wine appreciator, or so I've heard. I don't know if
Yes,
you've had managed to try it.
No, we are. I'm saving it for later, but Yes, thank you.
Make sure you warm it up, but don't boil it. It's gonna be delicious. You have to get back to me later on how you like that.
I certainly will. Don't generally
I
boil
was-
my wines.
I was wanting to introduce myself to everybody, and I couldn't help but notice that there were a couple banners. Didn't have anyone here. I sure hope there was no problems with some of those folk. Very much hinting at our mutual potential problem of a banner that should not still be here.
Yes. House Galmanor sent word ahead that they had run into a couple issues and were running a day late and would arrive tomorrow morning. And yes, House Melodia, the Emperor sent an invitation to the remaining member of Import, and she declined to attend the event.
Did she?
She rejected the Emperor's invitation and decided to stay in her hotel and ignore the whole business.
That's a great shame. Maybe a fresh-faced noble house should reach out to her to make sure she's okay. Do you happen to know where she's staying?
Zaga, do we have a city name for where she's?
She is in the capital. She is an Empress.
She is in the capital.
She does live in the
Okay.
capital.
Yes. Well, she does. Well, what makes this all the more scandalous is that she lives here in the capital.
You don't
She
say.
She couldn't even bother to take a carriage ride over for the banquet.
Now that I don't know much about courtly mannerisms and all, but that does seem like a bit of a spit in the face, as if you ask me. I think we might just have to make sure that she's doing all right. I hope there's nothing that's ill to befall her.
Yes. I heard, as I make a history check for him, I've also heard that there might be another survivor.
Oh,
of
interesting.
House Melodia that so miraculous, so grateful. Don't know where. The Emperor doesn't know where she is though, so has no way of sending an invitation.
Oh, would you happen to know her name? I'm sure she could use some protection in this time, and who better to send some protection than a mercenary captain?
No, I can't quite. I'm not quite sure.
That's all right. We'll at least be able to help at least one of them out, and maybe, who knows, maybe she'll be forthcoming and let us know about her relative.
Perhaps.
As you say this, Covington, another individual approaches the pair of you. And as she gets closer, you notice actually a similarity between her and Count Vel Severus. Though she wears different house colors, it is Lady Umbria Asus. And she comes up, is like, "Oh, Vel, told you I didn't want to be here, but you both insisted, and now I've got..." Oh, and she'll kind of look at Covington. "I'm sorry, I don't think we've been introduced."
Again, the way too fancy bow, take off the hat, swoop the sun. It's like, it's Baron Covington Blackthorn at your service.
Umbria, a pleasure.
The pleasure's all mine, my lady. I was just introducing myself to all the fine folk who weren't too indisposed, and I just wanted to give my greetings and make sure that we have such a wonderful working relationship going forward.
she's gonna give a look between you and the Count. Yes, quite.
Well, seems like y'all have a pretty full evening. I'll let you get back to your quarters if that's where you're headed. Thank you again for the introduction. I hope you have a great evening, Count Vilseverus. And my lady, of course. And he's just gonna bow and take his leave.
Back
leaving.
to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
As you're leaving, you hear Lady Umbria is like, why does the Empress Dowager want me to marry the Emperor? She says a little louder than you figure she intended.
That's fair. I'm not gonna act like I've heard anything. I'm just gonna store it in the memory banks and keep meandering amongst the party.
Cut back to the person no longer at the party, as Killian slips unseen back into the ballroom.
As you know, we did talk about before, you have studied the architectural plans of the Imperial Palace. So you do know many of the corridors and such. And so, as you leave the ballroom, you make your way down the hall, and you do notice that outside of one of the doors leading to what you can recall to be the library, there are a couple of guards stood there. The door is slightly ajar if you would like to slip in invisible.
How ajar? Like, what are the odds of my body knocking one of the doors?
Pretty low. It's slightly possible, but I would say if you are stealthy enough, you'll be good.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna risk that. I think what Killian would do is he would just kind of stroll up to the door, stand between the two guards, kind of cross his hands, not like they could see it, and just knock on the door.
One of the guards, almost on instinct, goes to push the door open, and it does push open a little further as the other one is like, wait, what was that?
Right through.
The first guard is like, Your Highness?
Pardon? What was that?
Did you not? I thought you were. Was that not for? Sorry to disturb you.
You're fine, sir. The Emperor sounds a bit distracted by something.
You would also. I don't know if you would have. I don't know if you caught the sight of the guard next to the queen, but these two guards be wearing a similar heightened level of armor and regalia.
Okay, so they're of higher station than your typical grunts. Okay, is the Emperor with anybody, or is it just him?
It's just him. It is a very large library, plenty of books, a large desk with a scattering of papers, and inkwells and quills, and you do see that he has a couple of papers in his hands that he's shuffling, and as you enter, keeping your footsteps quiet as a mouse, you start to hear him muttering to himself as we need more laborers to build the new roads. It'd be best to extend the main road up to Cloudbrook, as with how many robberies happen on that end of the road, it's not good for trade. then there's the matter of that temple idea they had the other day. It's always good to have another temple. You quickly realize that he is talking about, like, various things of infrastructure around the Empire and strengthening some of it.
So you catch the edge of a few, like, sheets of paper that are ledgers of sums and monies and taxes and
Is there anything that indicates that the Empire is facing any sort of severe debt, or any sort of information I might be able to use as leverage later on?
Make a do you want to do insight or
investigation
perception?
check.
Investigation check.
Let's say investigation.
Alright, that's a good old +1. What is that? I don't know if that's a 13 or an 18. That's a 13. +1, 14.
Oh, as you kind of glance over the ledgers, first thing you do notice is they are all impeccably kept. Just extremely detailed. And through that, you do realize that the Empire isn't struggling, but it's not at the height of itself either. But what you more take into account is the the amount of time and effort that has gone into keeping all of these. You do see some areas where there seems to be, like, not as many taxes coming through, mostly through trade. That seems to be the big thing that was especially upset by the plague. It's somewhat, like I said, we're not in a period of struggle, but we are in kind of definitely not a super successful empire at the moment. Not how it has been.
Kind of like on the edge of reclamation, almost.
Kind of, I would say.
Okay.
I'd say also with that roll, you notice as he takes another note, all of these ledgers, everything here, is written in the Emperor's hand. He has done all of this work, presumably himself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so either nobody's helping him, or he doesn't trust anybody to help him. Okay. I'm going to be cheeky. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, you're good.
Oh, you go first.
No, I want to see what you're doing. I'm the DM, or one of the DMs.
I think Valerius is going to be cheeky. He's going to just write a little note. One that is not written in his own hand, per se, but one that's unrecognizable from his own. And
You're gonna have to make me a stealth check, my guy.
I was gonna say sleight of hand.
Oh, sleight of
about
hand.
yeah.
Sleight of hand.
On the note, all it's going to say is, make sure you know who your allies are. And I'm going to slide that into one of his notes, so that he'll find it in about an hour or so.
Okay. Go ahead and give me the sleight of hand check to try to disguise your handwriting.
Okay. No advantage because invisibility's not really going to help with that, is it?
No.
You're really liking the number 13 tonight, but that's going to be a 27.
Oh!
Yeah, no, you don't even recognize that this is your handwriting. It's so... hell, it might even be the Emperor's handwriting for all you know.
No, I've been looking at his handwriting. I know it's...
The Emperor threatening note to remind himself.
Yeah.
No, whose allies are.
Yeah.
And now the games begin. The enemy within. Yeah, I'm just gonna slip that into one of his books, and hopefully that might incite a little bit of paranoia and have him kind of keeping an eye on some of his guests a little more closely than normal.
You said it is remember who your allies are?
Yes.
Hey. Is there anything else you plan on doing after you leave the Emperor this note?
No, he's just gonna skedaddle. He's gonna get out of there.
Anyone else at the party? Any other conversations, private or otherwise?
There is one thing that I wanted to do before I fixated on AJ.
There is still Pius's conversation with
Oh, yes, Pius.
Eugenia and
No,
Eric.
let Ernie
Well-
go first. and I'll know when
Well,
it's
no,
when it's
since
about.
since I've already gone first, I don't wanna double dip before the chips have gone around. You know.
Yeah, no,
No,
yeah, let's,
I had my thing with the Empress and stuff like that, so you're good.
I would like to seek out, if possible, the member of the other house that was named. I wanna seek out the half dwarf individual.
Sir Cato, the stalwart of House Patricia.
I want to come up to him and give him a tap or something. I don't know what he's doing, but I do want to be very more professional about this endeavor.
Sir Cato is kind of talking with a few of the other knights, so a few of the other guards that may have been brought around. Ironhoof is there. A couple of the other knights from the royal house and from the other houses, and isn't really mingling with any of the high nobles.
Let's change that. So yeah, I'll come up to him and I will introduce myself. I will give him a full respected bow and shake his hand, mano y mano.
My lord. He very quickly very I apologize for.
No. If anything, I was wondering if I could seek an audience with you, somewhere more privately.
Oh, of course, sir.
And I'll kind of like look around real quick, and I'll really make an effort to kind of nonchalantly just walk and talk to a point where the murmurs start to quiet from the other side of the hedge. You know, like you said, there's this huge storm of people trying to get to the very, very, very tippy top echelon of people, but I'm here taking someone that maybe we can slip away very subtly.
Yep, there's a few people who have also done as you have, and a one slightly embarrassing moment where you kind of come around a hydrangea bush, and there's a young lord and lady kissing, and you quickly duck around and find a different secluded spot.
I wanted to garner your attention. I couldn't help but notice you are not the full human. You are probably the only one here who's not full human.
Yes, it's sort of the first thing everyone notices about me.
I think the first thing I noticed about you was the stature first, not the species, skin color, hair color. No. It's the lack of height. But you know what? I'm not here to make a spectacle of who you are. I I come here with a plan, an idea. But I don't know who I can necessarily talk about this to. And I don't know, it puts me in a very precarious situation, but I am very interested in... He struggles to find the right words. I was wondering if you could help me, God, a favor. I seek for more independence and integration with people who are not as tall as myself or with ears as stubby as mine or somehow more hairless. If you understand what I mean.
What's his, what's this man's insight? Does he understand what you mean?
Dude, I'm beating around the bush so hard you can see through the hedges, man. I am really...
I believe it'll probably be a +0 to that roll. So
Good thing he rolled a 19.
we love Sir Cato the Stalwart.
Yeah, dude, the big word. Yes, sir.
I know what you mean.
I
yes.
just don't know how far these conversations can get with, some people feel some certain types of ways. It's messy. It can be very messy, but I don't think people like you should be seen upon a type of way, and if there is anything to have these... I just know that I wouldn't be falling on deaf ears here.
Well, I am a loyal servant of House Patricia, and they have treated me with respect. And if I may be so bold, my lord, he takes another little small bow. There is another person here who might be of much greater help than I. The Lady Erin is said to have the ear of the Emperor, and she is... Well, her mother was an elf.
And I would also say, and it's up to you, Conrad, if Cato communicates this, but Cato would know that Eugenia and Aaron they grew up in the Imperial Palace together. So the lady of House Patricia is a close friend of Aaron's.
Yeah, he would, and yes, and if you are looking for allies, then my lord and lady might be someone to speak to as well.
Definitely, I will keep them in mind. Once we get more settled in, I think we might see each other later tonight. Your lord and lady. And I.
Hello.
But thank you very much. You've been very helpful. I shall never forget this as long as I live. And he will give a bow of respect before we kind of break away.
Sorry, I forgot to do this. Go ahead, really quick, as you were slipping away, give me a stealth check. To see how private this private conversation is, or if there are ears in the bushes.
Dude, for some reason, I'm flying like solo on stealth. I don't know why I thought that was such a good idea for such a campaign like this. I'm really... Look at this. Nope, that fell. Hold on. 11.
11.
I'm really Scooby-Dooing this.
11 is noted. As this is happening, I think All you've been waiting very patiently. Cut back
Yes.
to. Speaking of
To-
Lady Erin.
Lady
Yeah.
Erin and Lady Eugenia, or Countess Eugenia. As you approach them, they both turn to you. The two women, one dark-haired, pale eyes, elven ears with a silver cuff on them, almost accentuating their elvenness. And the other, a very gorgeous woman in a very fine and low-cut gown.
I give like a very formal bow. Years of practice. But
They
it's
were-
spoiled by the fact that in my left hand I have a handful of the cream puffs that you mentioned. So it's a full formal bow as I keep my hand with the cream puffs so that I come up and I'm just like eating one, just like
They elegantly return the greeting.
Yes, giving curtsies.
Yes. How may we
So-
help you?
Well, no, I'm just wondering actually. I've been to a lot of the these big sort of fancy gatherings and whatnot. I'm just wondering, does anybody actually talk properly, or is it all just like flowery stuff and oh, I'm so glad to see you. Your dress is so nice. I'm just like, does it ever get like, not interested?
The two women look at you, and Erin laughs. No, this is pretty much when you're among everyone. You may get more honesty in a more private setting than you would out in the lawn in front of everybody.
Oh, well, that's fair. Oh, sorry. Did you want one of these? I don't know how they make them, but they're really nice.
Countess Eugenia actually takes a very like
Yeah, she'll take
dainty
one.
hand and picks one out.
So, it's on.
You learn a lot about the Imperial Court in events like these. Namely, you learn who will lie a lot.
Well,
Erin and I both grew up here, so we
Oh.
know the art of the conversation.
oh no, that's
Yes.
fair. Like you guys were like raised in it and all that. I mean, it's weird, you know. You've got all the most, powerful people in the entire empire in one place, and at no point is it a case of maybe we should try and make everything a little bit better for everyone who's in it. Instead, it's more of a case of, oh, let's get everyone together and have people in full suits of armor knock 10 bells of shit out of each other. Oh, let's get on some horses and ride really fast. I don't, it's just like, it feels like the time could be used better for the betterment of everybody,
Well, I don't know about you, but I personally don't ride any horses in tin suits of armor.
Well, no, but, in jousting and all that. That's what jousting is. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure that's what jousting is. I've been wrong before, I'll be wrong again. But, it feels like, you should take advantage of the fact that everyone's here in one place and have, like, a proper discussion about, how you can make the Empire a bit of a better place.
Well,
For all the people in it.
They do take advantage of us all being in one place. They take advantage of the fact that they can plot and plan and scheme, which I don't think you're above, even if you are a religious man.
I've never
sir,
said that. Never said that I
Cardinal
was.
Calixar.
No, never said that I was.
You're. She'll kind of. Eugenia will share a look with Erin. Sure.
No, I never said I was. Never said I was above it. It's part and parcel of the game, innit? The only way to try and change game is to be part of it. Can't change it from the outside. Madness.
Have to sit down at the bridge table, so to say.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're not dealt a hand, how can you play your cards?
Well, Shares another look with Lady Erin.
Mm-hmm.
I shall be eagerly awaiting to see which cards you have.
So will I,
Lord
honestly.
Talskier.
Honestly, it's always interesting to see where you find out what it is people are trying to do. Like, I'll be like, your brother's mom. She's trying to get him married off, eh?
And this is where I will excuse myself. Go see what my husband and sister-in-law are talking of. And Eugenia will give a curtsy and she will leave the conversation.
So,
Yes, that is
So,
the
I'll be like,
intention of the Empress Dowager.
yeah, no, I figured as much. He's been unwed for too long in her eyes, at least. Well, everyone's unwed. She's getting Narcissus married when he was bloody 15, if she had her way.
Narcissus. I don't worry about Narcissus.
I don't know. Why not?
Yeah. If all goes well, you will not have to worry about the throne. He's a good boy, smart, intelligent. But he will not be the heir for long, if the Empress Dowager has her way with him.
No, that's fair.
Like I said, he's good.
No, he seems like a nice lad. Don't know him personally, but from what I've heard, seems like a nice lad. Can I ask you? This is it's just no Eugenia. It's just me and Aaron now, right?
Yes, just you and
Yes.
Aaron.
Yeah, I'm 100% just gonna be like. Can I ask you something honest?
Have you not been doing that already?
No, I have, but I always like to preface a question like this because there's a chance it may cause offence, and it's not what I'm trying to do. It's just a straightforward question. You don't have to answer it.
Go ahead.
How often do people
amused.
ask? How often do people ask you about your ears?
Ooh.
Not so often. I'm actually pretty well known. So I don't get it too much when I'm among. I'm still kind of gesture vaguely at everyone else. Among those who recognize me.
That's fair. Outside of that,
Every other person I'll interact with,
no,
depending on how rude they are.
that's stupid. I don't shouldn't make a difference, should it really? Judge a person on the basis of their character, not what they look like.
You know, I find that, in a way, these years have helped not only me, but my brother and my father, in a sense, when he was alive. The gods bless his soul.
No, absolutely. He'll make like a gesture. Just be like, it's something that obviously like me, but you know, and I'll point to like the entire regalia. I'm just like, it's important, you know. You should judge people based on how they act, rather than like where they come from, what they look like. But you should also like try and enjoy the time that you have. Like, make the most positives. Leave the world a better place than you found it. You know. Sorry, wrong hole. Oh, bloody hell.
I will say that I think you will find you and my brother do have a similar view on that, of wanting to improve the Empire.
No, really? No,
He
I mean,
actu-
I'm happy to help. Like, I don't know. I was gonna say like, it's not money. I can't see him being hard up for cash, but.
How was the road between here and Cloudbrook?
That's bollocks. Bandits, people trying to rob. That's why one of the reasons why we got the Chosen. We protect the faithful as they travel to and from. But there's only so many people that we can have out. There's only so many things you can stop. People are opportunistic, you know. Try and take what they can get.
I'm gonna tilt her head. If you would like, I believe that exact road would be a wonderful conversation between you and my brother. Of course, you'd be speaking on behalf of the... She'll kind of tilt her head. Patriarch?
Oh,
Correct?
well, yeah, I mean, I'm his right hand. So,
Rather than his
Sure.
left.
well, no, that's my brother, and honestly, who wants to be the left hand? I mean, not to take away from people who are left-handed. It's a, you know, it's a thing. But no, it's, you know, it's no, I'd be happy to have that chat with him. I don't know when he's free. I imagine he's pretty busy. Well, I mean, I'm only here for celebrations on, so I've got to get back. Got work to do. You know, the time waits for no man, especially when you've only got a finite amount of it. You know.
She will nod and seems to be considering something. I will see if I can get you an audience with him on that very subject.
Oh, that'd be grand.
Because he is, like you said, he is quite busy, but he does want to see he wants to see his empire flourish.
Oh, well, benefits all of us, doesn't it?
The happenings of the plague have weighed heavily on his soul.
No, weighed heavily on our on the faithful. That's why I said you never know when something like this is going to happen. You've got to embrace life. You'll live it.
Of course.
Honestly, you like. I don't know. I mean, we got some like services and stuff like down there in the capital. Not so many, but I think you might as well like. It'd be worth it. Pop down. It's worth, honestly, just to hear some stuff. It's not like a commitment to it. It's honestly just a nice way to see people like valuing their lives and doing what they can positive for it. Trying to help other people out. Trying to, like I said, leave the world better than you found it.
Yes, quite. How is your father, the patriarch?
He's doing all right. He's he don't get out as much as he wants to. No, he wants to spend more time amongst faithful. So
I've heard that he has been cloistered away as of recent.
he gets older, he wants to try and spend more time refining the message. You know, he wants to spend more time with all spiritual advisors, all the parables or the stories, to try and like distill down, because especially after the plague, you want to give people hope, you know.
Yes, hope.
No. Ollie,
Mhm.
you want to make a deception or persuasion check, whichever one you are doing at the moment.
100%. Ooh, 23.
She
Thank you,
is.
guys.
She is thoroughly persuaded or deceived by your words, whichever one it is. As
Fun.
she nods, and I do hope that the next event we hold, he'll be able to make an appearance.
I mean, I'd love that. I really would. He's much better in things like this than me.
You're doing quite well.
Honestly, if it weren't for the food. And he looks down at his hand, which is empty of cream puffs, and he's just like,
I will give the Empress Dowager that. She does know how to put together a good menu.
No, and she's catered this real nice. But you know what? It's rare at things like this that you find people interesting to talk to. I'll have to talk to you again at some point if you're not too busy. I know you've got your time with your brother. I know that if he's busy, I imagine you're busy as well.
I am always at least a letter away. So, even if I'm busy, a servant will always leave it at my desk.
Fair enough. I'll take you
It's
up on
how
that.
things are around here, you understand.
It's weird, an internal mail service for a building. That's wild. Honestly. But, you know, it's...
It makes it easier to arrange a meeting, though.
True. True. Normally I just walk to the person I want to talk to. But if I've got to sign, seal and deliver it beforehand, I'll do that.
Forward to a further conversation with you, Cardinal Talixar.
Honestly, just call me Pious. All the titles make me a bit... So it's self-aggrandizing, isn't it?
I suppose when you have one that matters, it would be. And she'll kind of give a curtsy and dismiss herself.
I'll just be like, should have got more cream puffs. Turn around and head back.
As the night lengthens and latens, and some people start filtering off to bed, I give a last call. Is anyone else meeting with their house members, meeting with a member of a different house, before the after party kind of winds down?
Well, Gwen, being my social eyes and ears, I would just like to touch base with her and see if she managed to pick up on any rumors or conversations that she wasn't immediately privy to.
Or she can make a perception check.
Ooh.
I believe she has a plus 5.
The perception?
Yes, she's the
Oh yeah,
art
+5.
staff.
Yes. Sorry. I was reading the wrong thing. So she got a 21. So I would say that any conversation held in public, she would have.
From that you heard from the other houses.
Yes.
Okay.
What was?
I believe that meets our swashbuckler stealth check, does it not?
I don't remember what it was.
Would you have? So let me ask you this: would you have asked Gwen to go out into and try to listen to conversations out further in the garden, or stay in the kind of main patio?
I'm gonna roll for it. We'll say 1 to 10 would have been denser areas. 11 to 20 would have been more obscure hidden areas. That's a 1. So we'll say dense, the more densely populated areas.
Yeah,
So-
she would have heard any of the conversations that happened in the patio,
Though she-
with people.
Could have also noted anyone who slipped off for a moment. Not their conversations, but that they slipped off and who they slipped off with.
Okay.
You
I'll have
also
to rewatch the episode later to fully take my notes.
She also comes back with this little note. Let me see, where is it? hear some twinklings about the Lord Birius and Lady Camilla spent most of the evening together. And one of the when picks up a couple of the servants gossiping with each other at the could have sworn they served Count Canis a rosé, but the spill was a dark red wine.
So I'm just writing that down.
Yeah, no problem.
You know what? I think I'll have Gwen. No. Gwen is going to proceed as she has been. I'm going to have. I'm gonna have Gerald kind of talk around with some of the guards, see if he can drum up some gossip as well, because he kind of speaks their language. He's kind of, you know, he's a knight, he's a soldier, he knows how to talk to the working people. Gwen is going to keep doing what she's doing, and I need to figure out what Killian is going to be doing in our next episode.
Continue chatting. Any last call for anyone as the party winds down?
If there's no one else, I got a few quick things.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
This doesn't have to be role played out or anything, but Covington wants to make sure that he thanks Lady Camilla for the invitation. So at some point, he's gonna track her down whenever she isn't too terribly busy, and just, you know, boisterously thank her for the glorious invitation. Such a wonderful evening. It's been marvelous. Can't believe this happens all the time. Would love to come back. All that good stuff. And just try to get kind of sort of in her good graces, or at least so she knows who he is. Especially since the letter that he received said that she was kind of a fan of his. So just let her know that if she would ever like to talk, or if there's anything she wants to discuss, just let me know. Happy, but thank you so much for the invitation. Have a great evening, all that good stuff.
Yeah, Camilla would respond that yes, she is so glad to see you here and to have met you, and hopes that on one of the other days you two can talk business a little further.
Would love that. That sounds great. And he whips out a bottle of his spiced wine from nowhere, just magics it up. Take this home, you know, enjoy it. Make sure it's warm, don't boil it.
She'll hand that to Tiberius, who is with her.
Yep. So that's the one thing, and the other thing similar to our friend Killian here, he's gonna have Ironhoof try to. Is there like an after party with the guards? Like they get through with the evening, they get off the shift, they're gonna go like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The knights and the guards, after like everyone's kind of gone off their own ways, they're gonna go and like drink and socialize and dice together.
Finish off any of the open bottles, so to speak.
Yes.
He's gonna have Ironhoof take the remainder of that one crate of wine to wherever the guard station is. Try to get in their good graces, learn a little bit of the gossip, but mostly kind of try to figure out if they're disgruntled, if they like their work. What does being a guard to the Emperor pay? All that kind of stuff. You know, not like Ironhoof isn't that bright, but maybe make it seem like he's trying to get his own way up in the world, or just, you know, be least as suspicious as possible. Just shop talk, and then report back to me on what they say on that kind of stuff. And then just let Lucy know that that one Lady Melota is in town. Whenever they find where she is and know what she's doing, let me know.
Yeah, I think that gives us a good transition as the party winds down, and you all are led to your opulent suite of rooms. Some of you have already kind of spoken out what you're doing, what you're having your party do. Any
Ollie?
late night, maybe not quite as socially pleasant activities happen.
I think Ollie had something to say as well.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Like, once I finished that conversation, I'd get the rest of my retainers, and I imagine it's not going to be a huge one, but there'll be a Church of the Ascendant Way somewhere here in the capital, and I need to go and at least make an appearance there.
Yeah, there is a smaller congregation here. But your spiritual advisor, I would say, Priest Mineo Keldwer, did make sure he knew where they would be gathering so that you could go and have kind of a prayer circle with them, so to speak.
Yeah, administer some, divine. Yeah, I also like it to figure out if anybody who goes to those services is people who would be also attending this party, to get more of an idea of anyone who would be more likely to listen to me. That's what I'd like to do.
Work. Any other kind of more late night activities from our cadre of noble houses?
I think Male's probably.
The first night of celebration winds down.
Speaking of wine, Mill's going to go ahead and do some delegation. He's going to talk to his entourage, specifically River and McCard, and he's going to ask them to liaison introductions with House Patricia, as he didn't get a chance to really talk to them, but he also has to get his beauty sleep, so he's going to need them to help out. Just a little bit, just a wee bit.
He doesn't get 12 hours.
He'll say, he'll look over towards River and say, all right, so you've got your flasks and you've got your worship. As he looks towards McCard, as the House Patricia has been put forward as Noctalis worshippers who are very, very good exporters of very, very good drink. So he has the perfect two individuals to help with that.
I would make it back to my room, opulent room of opulence and majesty and opulence. I want to talk to Sarcona and inquire about the note that she was given.
Yes, she would be like, it's from the Empress Dowager, and she is. Let me pull it up real quick. I have it in front of my face. She'll read it out. Dowager Empress Malia Benedictus invites you to tea at the Rose Garden. Your presence is requested for a private tea tomorrow morning to discuss serious matters of the heart. Now, I am no poet, but I have a feeling what those serious matters of the heart are, Your Grace.
Yes, indeed. That involves you or me?
I don't think the Empress Dowager has fallen for your charms yet, Your Grace. I think she means me. But perhaps you can also find time for a private tea with her.
I'm not so interested in her. I would be very helpful though if you need me to be there. I can.
It will be during the joust, so I don't know if you want to miss that. But I can also communicate anything particularly discussed, and perhaps the other women who have been invited, their thoughts and feelings are.
Well, let me know what is said. I'd be very, what's the word? Interested. Yes, very interesting things going on. As for the joust, I do not see myself performing such feats of athleticism. I'll look over to Jessica. I think maybe that might be up your alley.
Yeah, I mean, we brought a horse for a reason.
Indeed, the best stallion we could find. A stallion we could find. The best stallion that we could afford to buy.
We can afford a lot of stallions.
Oh, we can afford a Gallivary infantry worth. So you can take care of that. You take care of that. I think maybe during the joust I shall seek a certain individual out myself. I think I will seek out the half-elven lady that is here.
Be careful, there are those who say that she does not get along with the Empress Dowager very well.
Oh, well, please.
And there's those who say that she doesn't get along with the Emperor very well either.
That depends on who you believe.
Hmm.
You do know about that, don't you?
I do now, yes. See, yeah. Well,
did we not talk with him about this already?
What?
I swear we did.
I thought you did.
I thought I did too, but now oh, he might have just not listened to me. Cotton in those ears? Or perhaps the pillows of your last lover.
See, I like that. I enjoy that imagery more. Yes, moonlight, magic. Anyway, I shall seek an audience with her tomorrow. Maybe we can discuss certain things about certain people and there's certain things. So I think the three of us have something very busy day tomorrow.
It'll be a very busy few days for all of us.
Well, maybe we should. This is very nice. Not as nice as back home, but what hotel is. I will say though, nothing. It is just very nice.
It is the Imperial Palace.
Oh, indeed. It's just, my taste. I prefer the pillows to be a little bit harder. I don't like the feathers. I don't like the feathers at all. I need something firm and very cold.
Okay. Last call for tonight's shenanigans.
I've got two more that I just was thinking about.
The shenanigans are shenaning again.
One is a little more serious.
Okay.
Killian would encourage Mauricia to pursue the what was her name?
The
Imperial Mage.
Irene Droma.
Irene.
Yes. Would would encourage her to pursue that lead and take note of who her potential competition might be for that seat. And then I think in the wee hours of the morning, or no, not in the morning, just before bed, so later at night when most people would be passed out, I think Killian would once again go invisible. And this one's gonna be just kind of stupid, but it's... I want to see what'll happen. I think he's going to slide a few notes under some people's doors, implying that the patriarch Salvin Telescar is in fact left-handed, and Pius is here because he's not as important.
I think.
Okay, who do you
As many doors as I can get in that hour-long duration.
That's a lot of doors.
That is a lot of doors.
I would say, roll me. What do you think, Conrad? 1 or 2 d20s?
1.
Roll us a d20.
That's a 19.
Everybody's
19
doors. Yeah, 19
Yeah.
doors. So everybody else here, including Pius.
Yeah, including his own door.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone here and all of the other 4 major noble houses that are here, and the Dowager Empress somehow.
Oh man.
It's written in the Emperor's handwriting.
Possibly the Emperor's handwriting. I'll make another sleight of hand check.
The idea of the Emperor going around his own palace sliding notes under people's doors.
That's crazy.
that is very funny.
So in case you want it, that is a 33 sleight of hand.
I would say that
It's definitely not recognized. Was once again not recognizable as your handwriting.
Yeah. I have one absolutely ridiculous stat, and I will try to roll it at any given time.
Hey, fair enough.
Mail would probably be up, because even though he sent off his entourage, he's probably working to draft up some contracts, just like some empty kind of like, I don't know, deals. Some a few kind of just like boilerplate, and then others probably a little more attuned to certain houses. But he'd be so focused on that he would not notice a piece of paper slipping under the door.
Yeah, about half an hour later, Alistair, oh, someone has left us a note. Hands it to you. Apparently the cardinal is left-handed.
The patriarch.
The patriarch is left-handed. Oh, apparently the patriarch is left-handed.
It's such a funny thing. That's such a silly thing.
It's so stupid, but in something like this, you never know what might happen.
I thought it was all right hands all the way down too.
Anything else?
Can I ask one thing in relation to that?
Sure.
After I'd been to the church, I would be making my way back. Is there a chance I see him putting notes under everybody's doors?
Well, he is invisible.
He is under the invisibility spell.
Okay, cool. Never mind then. I just.
I mean, if you wanna roll perception, I'll make a stealth against it. That's the fun of the game.
No, I'll do that.
Alright. So I got advantage on this.
I was
But
going to say the most important thing I need to mention is that if he's, at what point do the notes become visible?
When they stop touching, when he stops holding them.
Yes,
when he
as
pushes
they're
time,
under the
So
door.
notes sort of appear under the door.
I say
So,
there's
like-
there's probably like a 2 or 3 inch bit of paper as it slides in at the end.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll roll perception.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna have to beat a 25.
Oh, I'm not going to do that. Ridiculous. But no, I absolutely cannot do
Alright.
Okay.
Any more last calls? Or
Hey, as the moon rises over the capital of Imperial, all of you take a nice, restful sleep. Take a long rest if that is important to anything that you did on your character sheet.
Absolutely is.
And the gears continue to turn in the machine of the Empire, and hands continue to work of 10 noble houses gathered here. This opulent stone keep.